right, we're good? Hello, hello? Hello? Are you hearing me? All right. I know this isn't a construction site, so sit down. Come on, sit down. Come on. There we go. Thank you very much, everybody. Robert, you want to hang out or whatever else? By the way, the new improved Robert, I just, when I grow up, I'm going to grow a little beard. Anyway, so just welcome everybody. So let's start with 2026 on the concept of gratitude. So we have a lot of people to be grateful for. First of all, just Cold Spring Harbor Labs. I mean, when you really look at it, if you had to hang out somewhere, right? How well built is this? How beautiful is this? Let's give a hand to Cold Spring Harbor Labs, right? So just thank you very much, and we're going to get to meet some of the people who make this place tick. I'd like to talk just a couple of seconds about Lifon, Long Island Facility Owners Network, and our board. So this has been a 2-year kind of odyssey to get to this point, and so I'd like to thank our board members, and first, who's head of all facilities and everything here, Steve Moniz. Steve, thank you very much. Steve, and by the way, just so that you know, if there's anything substantive here that I have nothing to do with it. There's no substantive things whatsoever. But I want to say that Steve got together with Jim Prost. Where are we from Catholic Health? Jim, where are you? Thank you. Jim has a tie on. He goes to sleep with a tie. It's really great. I wore this to honor you, Jim. You know, I've never seen you without your tie, and I've known Jim for now, almost 40 years, right? Yeah. So anyway, so Jim, thank you very much. And Don Booth, where are you, Don? Don, great head of hair. Come on, stand up, Don. Just show him your head of hair. All right, that's great. So just the three of these gentlemen got together with somebody who doesn't want to admit that he's actually related to me, my son Peter. You see him, if you're in conversation with him, you'll know that I should have beat him more as a kid. Anyway, but Peter, I think 3 + 2 is 5. The 5 of us got together and we started talking about the importance of, first of all, Long Island as a region, and then secondly, the idea of finding a place where we can network individuals in construction and those who are supporting the construction industry, especially our owners, right? The people who really have to make construction decisions, report up the ladder and down the ladder and all of the other things. And I've learned one thing, I can't construct anything. Anybody would know that. You give me a really nice nail and a hammer, I still have nothing to do with it. I also noticed something interesting. Because my background actually was philosophy and theology. I've never seen anybody lie more than in the construction industry. If your lips are moving, I've never met a group of people more full of shit in my life than the people in the construction industry. So I think it's amazing that you're here. There was a good third that walked out and said, no, we're going to be right back, right? So we know what it's like to do that. So first of all, those 3 individuals, and then I'd like to recognize the rest of our board. Inez, where are you, Inez? Inez, that's you. Stand up, Inez Babiglia. Thank you very much. Robert Brewer, I don't know where you are, Robert. He's our accountant. Maybe he's still checking, somebody's cooking the books. Marty Detling from Albany's, I don't know where you are, Marty. He's pretty tall and stuff like that. So clearly he's going to say he was here, but we don't see him. Terry Elkowitz from VHB, glad to have her. Jim Flannery, and I know, National Grid, the guys who work for National Grid, it's like a semi-paramilitary organization. So if one says it, one lies, they all swear to it. So I know Joe Warren up there said, yeah, I'm sorry, Jim couldn't make it. He's got a crisis. Something, I'm like, yeah, sure. So just thank Nat Grid for lying for one of your colleagues. Scott Fernberg, where are you, Scott, from Cordmore? There we go. So Scott is like, he did a lot of building here on Long Island. And then he says, now he's working in Queens, and he's like, why do I care about Long Island Facility Owners Network anymore? But somehow he still stays. So, Scott, thank you very much for all your wisdom. Brian Kenny from NYU Langone, thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. By the way, Brian, I just want you to know, you're going my way. It's slow. It's steady, but you're going my way. Anyway, all right, but there's life afterwards. Jim Kennedy, who can't be here. Anthony, where are you, Anthony? We're representing Hogland. Thank you so much, Anthony, for being here. Mike Rowan from Northwell. Mike, that's great. And Mike, if I had hair, I swear I'd wear it just like you. All right, a nice full head of hair. Anthony Tofano, where are you, Anthony? You know what? Maybe I'd wear it like you. Anthony from the MTA, head of concern for the MTA. Thank you very much, Anthony. And Eric Ortman. So many of you have dealt with lawyers. It really isn't a pleasant experience most of the time. Have you ever heard where lawyer and pro bono are in the same phrase? Where are you, Eric? Oh, there, Eric Ortman, pro bono. All right, pro bono lawyer for Lifon. Thank you very much from Kaufman Delawich. Did I get it right? All right. You know, when you're dyslexic, it's always very, very tough. So with that, I wanted to just, again, thank everybody for the work that they've done. And now I'm going to turn it over. And I would say to you that, Steve, you've done an unbelievable job for this organization in its inchoate form. We're just getting started with whatever else. And other board members know this. You know, the last board call we had, Steve is like, hey, step up, everybody. Like, there was no foul language because he's a gentleman. I would have used foul language. But all I could say is, Steve, thank you very much. You could read his bio, all right? He's got a nice picture. He's got everything else. But Steve, what Steve has done in construction industry is better than what Donald Trump did with the Nobel Prize, all right? So all I can say is he's the real deal. You know, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Steve. Steve, thank you very much.
So I don't know how to follow that up. Come on. First off, I just want to thank everybody for coming here tonight, this cold day. I'm just going to show a quick video before we get into what tonight is about. Tonight, for me, is about learning, meeting new people, and just making the connections that I need to make in order to better Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. And you're going to hear from Bruce Stillman, who's the president and CEO of Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, in a few minutes. But I'm going to play a short video that we'd like you to watch and hear from other scientists that work at this laboratory who actually start explaining what it is that they do and why this place is so important.
Every breakthrough starts with a question. Curiosity is the spark. At Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, we bring together brilliant minds from around the world to ask bold questions. For more than a century, Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory has been home to pioneering breakthroughs that have transformed the way we understand life. Our mission: to advance the field of bioscience by educating and empowering scientific pioneers today to make lives better tomorrow.
The lab has this big vision in biomedical science, that it has invested in diverse group of people ranging from plant biology, genetics, to neuroscience, to cancer biology, to quantitative biology. And being surrounded with these people gives me the assurance that I'm in the right environment and I can take a risk. And if I fail, I can learn from that failure. And if I keep my course straight, I'm destined to make an impactful discovery.
Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory scientists have shaped modern biology, from deciphering DNA structure to breakthroughs in cancer and brain science. But its collaborative environment is what truly sets it apart, fueling discoveries that reach far beyond our campus, improving lives and shaping the future.
You as a scientist, is very stimulating to get input from scientists that do something completely different. You get to actually look at your questions from a completely new and creative ways. And I think that's something very special about Cold Spring Harbor.
A global leader in science education, Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory is dedicated to making science accessible, inclusive, and inspiring for everyone. World-shaping initiatives at the DNA Learning Center, Banbury Center, Center for Humanities, Graduate School, Renowned Meetings and Courses Program, and CSHL Press are encouraging people of all ages to discover the wonder of our world and apply their talents to drive meaningful change. Fundamental discoveries about cell proliferation set the stage for the development of frontline therapies for HR-positive, HER2-negative metastatic breast cancers.
My tumors were hormone receptor positive. I had non-invasive lobular carcinoma. There are people here at the lab that have dedicated their lives, their professions, their careers, their worlds to finding these cures and these treatments, and they're going to make the world a better place.
Groundbreaking therapies like Spinraza, developed here at Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, are enabling families to celebrate more birthdays with their children. In 2026, Spinraza will celebrate 10 years of improving the lives of children with spinal muscular atrophy.
For me, Dr. Craner is a superhero in regular clothing.
Once you get inside and you see what goes on here, this is groundbreaking stuff. This is affecting everyone across the world.
Without basic research, there would be no hope for my child. So we're very hopeful for the future for the first time.
We are deeply committed to the next generation of researchers and educators, fostering a modern scientific community where great ideas and brilliant thinkers can thrive. To sustain and expand this impact, we launched our Foundations for the Future campaign, an ambitious effort to invest in people, programs, and infrastructure. This campaign ensures Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory remains at the forefront of bioscience, expanding programs in neuro-AI, neurodegenerative diseases, and brain-body interactions, and inspiring scientific pioneers who will make lives better for generations to come.
Our institution has a science-first mentality. The funds that are raised are utilized for the advancement of science and creating these new initiatives. So as a scientist, the fundraising is directly impacting our ability to do science, not just to build new buildings, but to actually make those buildings, make new discoveries.
The motivation that I draw to do my research at Cold Spring Harbor Lab is what I'm doing can have a real impact. We save lives, improve quality of lives for patients and families. I mean, that really kind of pushes me to just keep working hard.
Pushing the boundaries of science is important at the lab. It's important to all of us. We want to improve the quality of life for people and live them to the fullest. Science is the key to those things.
Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, inspiring curiosity, discovery, and innovation, because science makes life better.
Thank you. So before we turn it over to Bruce Stillman to speak, I'm going to turn it over to our sponsor, Johnson Controls. An event like this is not that cheap, okay? Johnson Controls is sponsoring this entire event. All the food, all the drink outside is sponsored by Johnson & Johnson, and Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, just to give you a quick context, has entered into a long 10-year agreement on technology, systems, maintenance, and we signed that late 2024, and we're just in the infancy stage, and I could say it's going very well, and they're a very good partner of ours, and I'm going to welcome Joe Menta, who's going to speak on behalf of them.
You turned over the mic to us. Come on, Steve. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joseph Menta, and my voice is hoarse because it was so loud out there. We got to do something about the acoustics, Steve. First and foremost, I want to thank God for everybody getting here safely tonight. My name is Joseph Menta, and I've been serving the owner community for Johnson Controls for 21 years. After a major snowstorm, deep freezing temperatures, and everything the weather decided to throw at us, the fact that this room is full tells me two things. One, this community is incredibly committed, and two, whoever is responsible for keeping the building warm tonight deserves a raise. Bruce Shadler, where are you at? There he is. All right, Bruce. Yeah, thank you. Before we get into the conversation, I want to start with some well-deserved thank yous. Thank you to Lifon for being the sponsoring network and for continuing to bring together facility owners, developers, and industry professionals in a way that is thoughtful, relevant, witty, yes, Paul, and owner-focused. The work you do to elevate these conversations across Long Island truly does matter. Thank you as well to Peter and Paul, Tona of Praxis, for your partnership and support. Events like this don't happen without organizations willing to invest time and energy in creating meaningful dialogue. And a heartfelt thank you to Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory for hosting us this evening, opening your doors, especially on a night like tonight. It's no small task. 7 departments collaborated to make this evening possible. from public affairs to communications, security to shuttle service, culinary, AV to leadership. This is a place where mission, innovation, and facilities excellence clearly come together, and we're grateful to be here. I also would like to recognize Johnson Controls, the sole sponsor of tonight's event. We're proud to support this community and this conversation. And a special thank you to Chris Bontempo. Where are you, Chris? Chris Bontempo, our Chief Marketing Officer, and his outstanding marketing team behind every smooth event is a group of people who spent countless hours planning, coordinating, and adjusting. Chris and team, thank you for your dedication to making tonight a success. Now let's talk about why we're here. We designed tonight around a simple but powerful progression. Our first panel focuses on setting the vision, featuring our moderator, Chief Facilities Officer Steve Moniz, and President and CEO Bruce Stillman, both from Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. This discussion is about leadership, mission, and direction. Vision answers the big question: what are we trying to accomplish and why? Facilities don't just support organizations, they enable them. And without a clear vision, even the best technology struggles to deliver. Our second panel builds on that foundation with setting a strategy. Strategy is where vision becomes actionable. It's about priorities, trade-offs, and decisions that hold up over time. We'll expand the conversation with Major Project Executive Deb Das and General Manager of Digital Technology US, Julius Marchwecki, both from Johnson Controls, alongside the owner perspective to explore how strategy actually gets executed in the real world. Connecting both panels is a quieter but critical theme: implementing a process. I'd like to touch on this just for a bit because of a unique process that was implemented on the Foundations for the Future project up on the hill. A visionary 7-acre expansion project where you just saw the video, dedicated to pioneering research in 3 critical areas that will shape the world of tomorrow: neuroscience, brain body, and neuro AI. When the vision was clarified, we at Johnson Controls were able to cultivate a strategy during our myriad of ideation sessions. It was in these organic sessions that the process was born and solutions began to form. These solutions are the byproduct of when vision is met with strategy. And we all know vision without strategy is aspiration. Strategy without process is frustration. Process is what turns ideas into outcomes. It's how the right people get involved early, how decisions don't get delayed until they're expensive, and how facilities teams avoid spending their days managing around problems instead of solving them. And judging by the effort it took everybody here to get tonight, in light of the weather, in spite of the weather, I think we can all agree process does matter. Before I turn things over, I just want to take a moment to recognize the Johnson Controls sales and management team in the room. You're on the front lines every day helping owners to make decisions in complex, high-stakes environments. Nights like this matter because they reinforce that our role isn't just about solutions, it's about leadership, trust, and long-term partnership. Thank you for the work you do. Now it's time to move from framing this conversation to actually having it. I'm very pleased to turn things over to Steve Moniz, who will serve as our moderator this evening. I've known Steve for over 30 years, which means 2 things I know for certain. First, he's exceptionally qualified to lead this discussion. And second, he will absolutely follow through with his word. And he'll let me know later on if I said anything I shouldn't have. Steve brings the owner's perspective, the leadership experience, and the scars that come from living with decisions long after the meeting's end. He understands where the vision meets strategy and where process either saves you or buries you. And given the snow, ice, and single-digit temperatures, I think that's fitting. Steve's the right person to guide us through tonight's discussion because if things get icy, he's very comfortable navigating through conditions, tough conditions. Steve, the room's been warmed up, the audience is ready, and after what it took to get us here tonight, we've all earned an honest conversation. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
To give you, real world never stops. I got my wife texting me there's no hot water in my house right now. So. Call me when you can. I'm like, oh, it's going to be a little bit. I'll deal with that later. I'm going to introduce Bruce Stillman, and it's a privilege to introduce him. Right? I've worked for a lot of different. I've worked for academic healthcare institutions before coming to Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. I've met a lot of presidents at Mount Sinai, NYU Medical. I got to say, Bruce has been one of the best I've ever worked for in my career. He knows what he wants, and as Joe just alluded to, getting clear direction makes our lives a lot easier, especially in facilities. So I'm going to introduce Bruce Stillman. His bio's in what we handed out, and he has his own presentation, so just bear with us while we... Thank you, Bruce.
All right, thank you, Steve, and thank you to Johnson for the sponsorship tonight. I very much appreciate it. And I think I'll have to do it the other way. See if that works. If not, can you? Anyway, I want to just start off by thanking Johnson for sponsoring this. Welcome everybody to Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. Thank Steve Monez for organising tonight with the board. And I must say that I've been good friends with Paul Toner for many, many years, and I've never figured out what the hell he does. And now I know. He comes around to events like this and insults everybody. So, so that's... thanks, Paul, for doing what you do. No, he's actually a very good friend and has been very helpful to Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. This institution is 136 years old. It's one of the oldest institutions on Long Island. In fact, one of the oldest medical and scientific research institutes in the world. And it was founded in 1890 on a campus that used to be a whaling village. Back in the days, Cold Spring Harbor was a centre of whaling. And this side of the harbour, the other side of the harbour, Cold Spring Harbor, where all the fancy houses are, were where the ship's captains and the hoi polloi lived. And over on this side was where they actually made the barrels for storing the whale oil, boiled down the whale's blubber into making oil. And the road, the central road in this campus is called Bungtown Road because of the bungs of the barrel, the stoppers that went into the barrel. This was called Bungtown because the workers actually lived here. When terrestrial oil was discovered in Pennsylvania in the 1850s, this whole industry went belly up, and this land became, it was owned by the Jones family. This is the same Jones of Jones Beach. And nothing happened here from about 1850s to 1890. In 1890, John Devone Gines, whose picture is up there on the wall, of painting up on the wall, founded the laboratory as an educational and research institution. Within 10 years, Charles Davenport, who was one of my predecessors, set the real direction of the laboratory as the first institution in the United States to focus on genetics. Mendel's laws of genetics were rediscovered in 1900, and Davenport acquired money from the Carnegie Foundation. This is Andrew Carnegie's foundation in 1900, and started the modern Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. Since then, 8 Nobel laureates have worked here and won Nobel Prize for work that they've done on this campus. It is an incredibly impactful institution. And it's been a privilege. I've been here for 47 years, and it's been a privilege to have been head of the laboratory for the last 32. And it's a great privilege to work with people like Steve, who really this is a challenging environment. I'm going to show you a video in a second, and you'll see, you've seen a little bit in that first video about what the campus is like. This is not your typical high-rise, multi-story buildings. We are in the village of Laurel Hollow. It's one of the smallest villages on Long Island. It has very, very challenging zoning ordinances, and we have to deal with that. But that actually creates the environment here. This environment is a village of science, and we want to keep it looking like the North Shore of Long Island and a village of science. And so that's why the campus looks like this. We've deliberately kept buildings that were built in the 1700s and the 1800s functional, and I'll show you some evidence of that. So the next video, this is a video that Steve's into drones. And so, as you can probably tell from the first video, so the first thing you saw. So this is a recent one, you can tell by the snow, not the very, very recent one because the snow's not deep enough. But here we are on 25A, and I'm going to talk about this building here that was built in 1904 with this extension that was built later on. We are in this building here, and the campus goes all the way down to here. And this is one of 6 individual sites that we have on Long Island. We have a 54-acre estate in Lloyd Harbor. We have a research center in Woodbury. We have a farm on the top of Lawrence Hill Road just across the harbor here where we grow corn and other plants. We have a warehouse in Hicksville, and we have a school in Cold Spring Harbor, and it is the headquarters of one of the world's largest middle and high school education programs in the world. So this is the campus, and there's, I didn't point out, but you saw in the previous video some of the construction that was done in a new project which we call Foundations for the Future. This is building 4 new research buildings and a lot of infrastructure for the laboratory. That is going to be a $520 million project. We've so far raised around about $470 million towards this, and it is going to be transformative in new areas of science, how our brain interacts with the rest of our body, and how the body interacts with the brain, and how cancer usurps that and releases molecules that influence our entire physiology. Neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, and also what we call neuro-AI. This is the artificial intelligence, but being much more intelligent than the computers are, figuring out how the brain does computation, and our brain can run rings around current AI programs. So the challenge in the campus like this is that we have relatively small buildings, and we have many of them, and some of them are very, very old, and it's a challenge to keep them operating. An example is this building here. This is the Jones Laboratory. It was the first purpose-built laboratory that was built in 1893. This is what it looks like last year. Still looks the same from the outside. And that is the essence of Cold Spring Harbor. We try to preserve the history of this place. The entire campus here is on the National Register of Historic Places. And there's a reason for this, because of this type of maintenance of the vision of keeping the architecture the same on the outside, but as you'll see in the next slide, the architecture on the inside evolves just like science does. This is what it looked like in 1883. This is what it looked like when I came here in 1979, and this is what it looks like today. We've completely renovated the inside of this building in a very, very challenging way. And thanks to our architects, a long-term collaboration with our architects, Centerbrook in Essex in Connecticut, they repurpose old buildings like this for modern science. Inside this building right now is one of the world's most advanced plant research laboratories that is advancing the increase in food production in a whole bunch of different crops, from sorghum to tomatoes and other plants. And when this was first started out, it was a teaching laboratory in 1893. So this is the challenge that we have with old buildings. The other one shown here, this is now the Carnegie Library. This building was built in 1904, as the first purpose-built building for genetics in the United States. In fact, I've read a lot of history about this building. In this building in 1904 through the early 1900s was a pigeon house. There were goats and sheep. There was fruit fly Drosophila, all in this building. And in fact, some of the science that came out of this building, in 1908, hybrid corn was developed in this building. It revolutionized American agriculture. We did not patent it. If we did, we'd probably be the richest organization on Long Island. So that hybrid corn, which is taking the parent corn and making hybrid seeds, and that led to the development of companies like Monsanto and DuPont that sell seeds still today. That happened here in a cornfield on this now parking lot in 1908. We now have a cornfield over on Uplands Farm, which is an old J.P. Morgan's daughter's farm. This is now our library, and we repurposed this building to create a building inside that looks like this. This used to be laboratory space, or actually this is the extension, but this is now what the library looks like. This is the challenges that we have in focusing on historic buildings and keeping the mission of the laboratory. So what is the mission? We can have the lights on, please. What is the mission? We are a research and education institution. Our mission is to improve people's lives through science and to educate people about the benefits of science. And in this country, at this time, it is more and more important that we do this. We do it primarily through middle and high school education throughout the country and throughout the world. In fact, we have schools all around the world, in Australia, Singapore, China, and in Europe, and across the United States. And the purpose of that is to educate people about the process of science, how people think about science, and how the logic of science, so that when these kids grow up, they can use that information, even if they don't become scientists, they can use that information when they go to the doctor and ask appropriate questions or understand what is behind vaccines and other medicines that we all use now, or hopefully most of us use now. So that's the mission in education. Our mission in research is mostly in cancer and neuroscience and plant biology, is to advance technologies, basic fundamental science that will lead to new therapies. And in the video, it was mentioned one of the drugs that was developed for a previously lethal genetic disease for children, spinal muscular atrophy. Now, many tens of thousands of children, that drug was approved in 2016, and now many tens of thousands of children are alive because they're taking this drug. So this is the impact that an institution like this can have. It is not well known on Long Island. In fact, probably many of you here tonight are hearing about this for the first time. But it is one of the most impactful institutions in the world in science, and it has an enormous impact on people's lives, as I said. So I want to thank you for coming tonight, for being at Cold Spring Harbor in this wonderful facility. I should say that during the year, starting in March, we have a scientific meeting a week in March through June, and then we have a break in the summer where there's scientific courses that happen at Cold Spring Harbor, and then from August to December there are scientific meetings. There are about 9,000 scientists from all around the world that come to Cold Spring Harbor, sit in this auditorium, and exchange ideas about the future of science. And that is how Cold Spring Harbor contributes to the future of science. The Human Genome Project was actually started in this auditorium in 1985 or 1986. And that led to the sequencing of the human genome. And now, if you have cancer, everybody gets their genome sequenced to look for mutations that might inform about therapy. This has been transformative for lots of different diseases. And so this has a big impact well beyond Long Island. In fact, scientists come from all around the world. And I first came to Cold Spring Harbor when I was a second-year graduate student at the medical school at the Australian National University. I came here to speak in 1978 and was so impressed I came back 9 months later, and I've been here for 46 years, or 47 years now. So thanks for listening, and I'll turn it back to Steve.
Does anyone have any questions for Bruce? Any?
Oh, I'm going to fix your water heater in a minute.
Yeah, well, I think it's just a frozen pipe. So I have a question that I'd like to ask you, Bruce, is as you, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to set it up in a way. So Bruce also lives on campus in one of the residences. We have about 60 scientists that live on campus year-round. He's aware of everything that goes on. And one of the things that I just want to ask you is, how do you know, with the Foundations for the Future project, how did you know early on that that was the right project for the laboratory?
Well, I've been involved been involved in running the laboratory for 32 years. After I succeeded Jim Watson, who actually just passed away last October, who was one of our Nobel laureates, to develop new buildings for research. And when you're in the field of cancer research, which I'm in, you realize that there are opportunities, really profound opportunities to improve people's lives. And we know, if you're really connected to what's going on, we know what is going on in cancer research and what are the possibilities for improving cancer therapeutics. And so in 2016, we expanded a program called Brain-Body Physiology. That is, how does cancer, not just, so what happened in those days was the cancer was just being treated as the cancer was being treated, and most oncologists didn't care about the patient, they cared about the cancer. And they would throw chemotherapy at a patient, very toxic chemotherapy at a patient, and they didn't worry about the patient's mental health and all of the other things that happen to somebody that has cancer. We decided that that's not good enough. We wanted to treat the patient as a whole, and that we started this whole program in physiology to understand how cancer impacts the entire body. And scientists since then have discovered that there are molecules that are released from tumours that go to the brain and shut down various functions in the brain, such as appetite, which is the reason why people lose weight when they have cancer and become cachexic. There's molecules that go to the brain and cause depression. It's not because people think, oh, I've got cancer that they're depressed. It's because there's a physiological reason. And we have started clinical trials with Northwell Health to intervene in these processes based on the science here. So when we started that program, it was in a renovated building across the street here called the Demrick Building. There was only 4 or 5 laboratories that were doing this. And I realized that this was such an important area that we wanted to expand. And so we talked about this beginning in 2018, ran into COVID, so it got delayed a bit. And then we decided we needed more research buildings in brain-body physiology. And the other big thing that influenced me was, I'm getting older, and the diseases of aging, such as neurodegenerative diseases, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in particular, but many others, are a huge burden to the national health program in the United States. And something needs to be done about that, and only basic research, fundamental research, is going to add to that. And so we decided to also build a building that's going to focus on neurodegenerative diseases. And that, of course, is going to be very important. So those are the things. I find out about these by, I'm a scientist, I still run a research laboratory here, but I talk to a lot of my colleagues here. They give me feedback. We have discussions. I talk to lots of visitors. We have scientists on our board of trustees. And then you make a decision, and then I have to go to Steve and say, okay, design this thing and let's get it done. And I should say that this project is the biggest project that we've done. This is about the 5th capital campaign that I've done. And this has been probably the most smoothest, fantastic project that we have done. The buildings are on time, they're on budget, actually slightly below budget, and they look fantastic. And I want to thank Stephen Skanska and all of the team for making this happen. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we're gonna move on. Thank you, Bruce. So let me just plug back in if you don't mind. So I do have a Mentimeter running in the background. If you don't know what a Mentimeter is, that means that you guys can ask questions. So I'm going to introduce Dev Das of Johnson Controls and Julius Marchwicki. Did I say it right? Good, thank you. If you guys can just come on up and take your place. We're going to just briefly about how we set the strategy here in the facilities department. I have a whole team behind me that does everything on a day-to-day basis. Bruce Shadler is the director of operations, and a lot of what we're going to discuss really came from his brainchild of trying to figure out, as he came to this campus in his past life working for Veolia, what did the campus really need? And I'm going to set up how we got to Johnson very briefly, so then the context is there. So Foundations for the Future is running in the background for us for a while, and we're trying to figure out, okay, long-term fire alarm, long-term building automation, long-term security. So we put out a very large RFP out to technology vendors. We had unit pricing, we had escalation, we had maintenance contracts, all in one big bid. And after leveling and after interviewing, we settled on Johnson. Johnson, mostly Joe and Dev, have been the face of Johnson to Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory. And as we started rolling that out, we got into all these other discussions that we're going to have really quick now to let you know what the issues that Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory was facing and how is Johnson helping us set ourselves up for success for the future. As you heard, we're in this major expansion. Well, the expansion is going to sunset in the next 12 months. And now the laboratory is going to go back to more of a maintenance mode, more of a monitoring mode. And how do we do that? So I'm just going to sit over here. So I don't know who wants to start, how you want to start, Deb. If you want to start, what did you see as?
1 to 4, 1 to 4. Yeah. People in the back can hear me? Yeah. Fantastic. But I don't think so. Keith, 3 was missing. Where's Keith? Keith, 3 was missing. I don't know. I just said 1 to 4. I think AV is not on the same network. I'm Dave Das, Major Projects Executive for Johnson Controls. I'm with Johnson Controls for last 7 years. My focus in large-scale new construction and retrofit projects, bringing all the lines of business of Johnson Controls, whether it's life safety, BMS, controls, HVAC, security systems, to a sustainable platform. My goal is basically making the life simpler for the owners and developers, try to mitigate the risk for the technology systems for all the building life cycle along 50 to 60 years, and try to create a value for the life cycles of the new construction buildings.
Great. I'll briefly introduce myself for context and why I'm here. I'm Julius Marchwicki, and I'm responsible for technology at Johnson Controls, mainly our digital products and software, and so it's a privilege and an honor to be in such a historic and storied institution. I will never learn as much as many of you in this room will forget about the building and construction industry. I spent most of my career in automotive. But what I do know is digital technology and what happens when digital technology disrupts institutions that are over 100 plus years old, including Johnson Controls and like Cold Springs Harbor Laboratory. And so my background again is in how digital technology helps transforms businesses, business operations, processes, and turns that technology into something that's useful and can help create the disruptive innovation that's needed to keep places going.
Thanks. So for us at the Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, what the problem that we were facing is we have about 400,000 square feet of new space coming on board with a fire alarm system that may or may not tie into the existing fire alarm systems in all the other 82 buildings that are around here. We also have a security system, same thing. We have a building automation system that very well served by the prior technology vendor, but they didn't win the bid, and we're going into a different direction. So now we had to start thinking about how do we start integrating technologies for what we're about to build, what just got the lowest bid, and how do we start expanding that out. Top that off, right, we also have a CMMS program. Our work order systems, our maintenance requests, is an old, antiquated system. Events like this, believe it or not, require, as Joe said, about 7 different departments here. The 7 different departments all operate on a different type of work order system. So there's nothing communicating across the platform. And it makes it very difficult for a user, like the meetings, even the meetings and courses that do this day in, day out, who bring scientists in here. If they need food, they have to know they need food. If they need Lisa Cruz's assistance from communications, that's a whole separate piece. If they need me in custodial, well, facilities manages custodial and security, but believe it or not, it's 2 separate work orders. Nothing communicates. So we started going down the path with Johnson on how to do this. And Johnson had a couple of different solutions for us that I'd like to just dig into it with you guys a little bit more. So one is the FM Workplace module. Another is OpenBlue, ERP, right? I'm getting all the acronyms correct, right? And then you also have your actual regular automation system, your security system, your fire alarm system, and how does that all come under one umbrella? And what was your, how did you guys know that needed to happen too?
So I'll take that question, Steve. The owners have started thinking very differently nowadays. The vision is quite different. They are looking for a unified, interoperable systems where every system is speaking to each other. When every system is speaking to each other, it makes their life easier in terms of their operation of the buildings or operations of their daily circumstances around their campus. So that was our goal first, that every system needs to be united. And how you make that system unified? You need a platform to be unified. And OpenBlue was proposed to Cold Spring Harbor to bring that platform and bring all the systems, all the low voltage systems like fire alarm system or security system, HVAC equipment, and try to create a unified system for Cold Spring Harbor.
Yeah, and having one dashboard, like many of you probably have a single dashboard to manage your finances, for example. That's the most common example I like to use. But really unifying not just the technology and the low voltage systems. We can talk about those things all day, but it's really about connecting those departments and the people in those teams that need to come together and work together in a collaborative fashion to deliver, outcomes for your buildings. So, not unlike what it took to get here today. OpenBlue and the digital technologies that Johnson Controls has are examples of things that can help bring workflows and business processes together, and not just the technology, right, but the people behind those systems that look at them every day.
So you guys have a lot of different technologies underneath your umbrella, right? So explain how OpenBlue, what is the platform that's based on? What is it that it's actually doing in the background to bring everything to, I guess, the single pane?
Yeah, well, I'll give that a shot. OpenBlue is a cloud-connected smart building platform. We connect to traditional building systems, building subsystems, as well as IT systems. So we can connect to ERPs and Office and Exchange and your CMMS or legacy CMMS systems. A lot of customers have hundreds of thousands. I've been with a customer not too long ago. They have hundreds of thousands of tickets in their CMMS system, and they've been using OpenBlue to help try to correlate what systems are in need of more maintenance than others. In any event, what OpenBlue is effectively a cloud-based smart building platform. We bring together your IT systems, your building subsystems, and with advanced analytics and AI, we're able to provide easy to understand, plain English insights, which I need, not being a facility expert or facility owner. But we've really been trying to push the needle in terms of how we can bring insights from these various disparate systems to provide insights directly to facility owners and operators, so that it's really simple and easy for you to understand. Hey, I've got to go work on this system, or I've got a problem in this area, in this room, in this zone. However it is that you and your teams talk about your facilities. Every facility owner and every type of, whether you're a research institution or a hospital or a manufacturing facility, each of those, everyone has a different name for what they need. And so making sure we meet our customers where they are, that's what OpenBlue is. That's what OpenBlue really is all about. It's bringing those systems together using AI. I think someone was like, "Oh, you put AI in buildings," and I was like, "Yeah, that's a better way to explain it." But that's really our intent, is to help you, take advantage of all this data that you have in your buildings and make sense of it and turn it into something that's useful.
So for us at this point, and Dev, Joe, Bruce, please correct me if I say anything incorrectly. I'm attached to it, but I'm not in it every single day. We're using OpenBlue. We're actually metering every single one of our buildings right now. None of our buildings were really metered. Everything was basically 1 meter up at the front. That's where PSE&G came in. Everything's on a high voltage line down the middle of the road, and all the buildings took off. So we're in the middle of metering everything. We're going to be we're going to feed all of those meters, all of our past electric data, natural gas data, all of the fuel data that we've used for boilers into that system. We're going to overlay the automation systems on top of that, right? We're going to tie into this FM workplace, which is, we just finished an inventory of all the spaces on the entire campus in every building. We have an idea now of what our buildings are. So now we're going to see it digitally in a platform that's going to tie to a work order system, that's going to also tie to a building meter, that's also going to tie to the history of that building, right? And your system, like the OpenBlue system, is really going to be able to be smartly informing me and my team where we're having issues in real time, correct?
Correct.
And that is meant to drive down cost for us, right?
Absolutely.
If for us right now, low-hanging fruit, 2 to 3% of our utility bills is what we see right off the bat, not really doing much. So our utility bills are about $5 million a year. So we're looking at saving, and then we're hoping that over time that we can look at 6 to 7% of additional savings. That's just on energy. On work orders, as we start putting things into our database, I have some of my team here now. I'm going to pick on my electricians for a little bit. So eventually we're going to have, the light bulb in an office, the model number in our work order system. So someone writes, hey, you have a light bulb out. That work order system will know what kind of light bulb you need. I don't need to have my electrician drive here, go look, get on a ladder, take the light bulb out, then go find it, right? And that's the easy stuff. The OpenBlue piece, go into a little bit more with the ERP if you can.
It's an EPA.
EPA, thank you.
So it's an EPA advisor. Now, apart from that, in terms of the building life cycles, which we've been talking about, right? When we try to start a construction project, the first part of the construction expense is very minimal, looking into the overall building life cycle of a project, right? There are multiple buildings, and the life cycle of each building is around 50 to 60 years in terms of their maintenance, in terms of their operation capability, and in terms of their cost. So cost of the maintenance comes into the picture. Now EPR, in terms of the advisory, EPA, the equipment part comes into the picture, where you have multiple equipments across the campus, and how do you maintain those equipments. So the OpenBlue will actually give you an understanding about how the performance of those equipments are happening in the current environment. Because of the sequences across these labs, they have different sequences, how they are operating, how do you maintain that. So For example, if there is a problem in a gauge in an equipment, it will notify you on the software platform. When it notifies you, it makes your life easier rather than go and change the gauge, rather than waiting for long time in terms of the stage where the system gets not operable. So that's a problem where the OpenBlue platform resolves a problem for the customers.
Yeah, and I'll just add, there's a library that has been developed over, the long time that OpenBlue has existed of common faults and challenges that happen. And it's not that the teams don't know that these are problems. They just, there's a frozen pipe, right? Or there's a leak somewhere, and they forgot that they set the auditorium to operate until 11 p.m. or they set an override and they forget to clear the override. And so, over time, those challenges compound. And without visibility and, with the day-to-day lives of many building operators and facility owners, you might prepare for an event like this. You set up the room, the schedule, and then you might forget to release it. OpenBlue detects those types of errors over time. In most cases, will simply alert you, and in more advanced use cases, will help clear those autonomously. I'll call it automagically. Part of the value is learning how facilities run, learning how they operate, learning the schedules, and then using that learning over time to help with forecasting. So we have, for example, energy forecasting or equipment forecasting, so we can understand, what does AI predict the building or how the building is going to operate, how much energy will it use, and that can inform facility owners and operators how to best plan for the upcoming day. So all of that those are examples of some of the use cases that we can help Cold Spring Harbor Labs achieve.
Thank you. So, I was just checking on how many questions. We got a couple of questions in here. So, are there any integrations being considered for AI analytics with video verification under a single pane of glass to include bringing in any sensor technology, and this is like a really technical question, and PACS towards a smart campus? Well, yes, the answer is yes. We are trying to become a smart campus. We're trying to get better with our staff, and our the information that we're going to gain from using this system is meant to make us better.
Yeah, and I'll mention part of our portfolio of OpenBlue solutions includes things that are oriented towards worker safety. These are video-based AI technologies that help ensure in certain environments that we have people not entering exclusion zones, that they're wearing PPE. When those scenarios are not met, we'll typically alert or notify someone or provide an audit report that indicates someone was not wearing their PPE. And those are some of the examples where when we get single panes of glass, when we get those video feed, we can apply these AI models digitally to our products and create new value. That primarily has been used in oil and gas and construction, but we're quickly moving that to other areas as well, like warehouses where you have a lot of moving equipment, a lot of trucks coming in and out, and there's a high incidence. And so yeah, I think when it comes to laboratories, there's probably some really interesting use cases to make sure that we protect those moving around campus and protecting the researchers here.
Thank you. So next question, I think you answered this, but does OpenBlue offer a predictive maintenance based on all the data from the building systems feeding into it?
Yes. Yeah. The short answer is, there's two ways we do that. One is through our fault detection and diagnostics, in which there's 800 some odd rules that we've developed over time. We have the ability to create custom rules based on how your facilities operate, and then something new that we've recently introduced is this AI-based predictive and preventive maintenance. And so that AI predictive and preventative maintenance is using data from across the building, and it's cross-referencing energy meter data, utility data, and then actual real live operations from the building control system and the equipment. And that's all being fed to an AI model, and that AI model is spitting out potential problems and solutions to look at. It's a really powerful capability. We call it observations and recommendations. These AI models can take all that data, provide an observation, and then spit back out a recommendation or a set of recommendations to go and explore and investigate. And so, that's been around for just over a year, and we're starting to refine that even more with some AI advancements as well.
So I'm going to do the last question and then we'll wrap it up. How feasible or beneficial is it to implement OpenBlue on a smaller scale, like just a singular building? Like we did it here, where it'd be about 1 million square feet when we're all said and done. Now it's going to be more. It's going to be close to 90 buildings when we're all wrapped up.
Yeah, totally feasible. I'd love to talk. I'm sure Joe would love to talk to you as well. Size and scale of building. We have, we support large institutions like this one. We also have, several kind of single building hospitals that we support. There isn't, unless it's like a single family home or, multifamily residential, we'd love to come talk to you.
All right. Any questions in the audience? All right. Thank you both. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, in the Mentimeter, if you guys don't mind, if you guys could put a comment in on what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see next. Long Island Facility Owner Network to me is very important. It starts the dialogue for us, right? We do have two different types of events, larger events like this, and then we have really owner-only events. And I'm really enjoying getting to know everybody in this room and starting to see familiar faces. I think it helps our messaging. It helps us understand each other. It actually takes away, I always heard a lot of names of people that I work with, like Jim Prost I heard my entire career, and I only got to meet him like 3 years ago, He had a tie on, right? So he did, always had a tie on. So if that's it, Paul, you want to say a few words?
Yeah,
all right.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. First of all, it's so nice to actually, for you guys in the construction industry, I know it's kind of boring, so to hear somebody who's actually smart, and I'm not just talking about Steve, but actually a real scientist and stuff like that. Come on, you were impressed, right? Maddie, you were impressed, weren't you? Yeah. So, thank you very much. I'm just so glad that there are people who actually have qualifications, Yeah.
They also have their glasses.
Yep. I want to also, so Johnson Controls, you hit it out of the park, really. And Joe, I never thought you were such a good public speaker. I would have to tell you, I was pretty impressed. I gave you the over and under. I would have lost a lot on FanDuel. I'm telling you right now. So, no, it was really great. Guy from the Bronx and everything else like that. Wow. I thought you could hit a baseball, but I didn't know, so great job. Great job. You dressed well. We knew that. But just thank you very much. Also, we've had a number of sponsors, and I just want to recognize some of our other sponsors at this event. So Skanska came here and helped us a couple of months ago, right here at Cold Spring Harbor. So thank you, Skanska. Access Construction did a great job with one of our owner events. TRC, which is the guys who give money away in rebates. They sponsored one of our events. We appreciate it. We had Whiting Turner come and do a really great job on energy, I guess a month or two back. That was wonderful. And it started with, where is Don Booth? Don, yeah, you're off your phone now? Good. Just so I want to recognize you again. So it was great. Just tell him I said hello. Tell your wife I said hello. By the way, I'm Maltese, she's Maltese. I know you have to, Maltese women are really high maintenance. So anyway, but just thank you very much for NYIT for just starting us out and sponsoring cocktail parties. So I always miss a sponsor. I don't think I did this time, though. Steve, you've given me the heads up. We got them all. And so if you want to spend some money, we're open to that. We'd be very, very open to that. But just a special thanks to Cold Spring Harbor. This is a really I mean, you could see it's well thought out. And this is a special place to, to get together. So finally, we do have some, actually, Anthony Tufano over at the MTA, he said, we can give you Jamaica, station and stuff. We said, well, we're going to, yeah, come on down. You're only, I said I have a Metro card. He said it doesn't count anymore. Anyway, but, from the standpoint of just hosting it is wonderful. So we are going to have, it's going to be open for you guys to connect a little more. We are going to shame the people who left early. I just want you to know I have a photographic memory for a slight. And so those people are going to be, pummeled next time that I see them publicly. And with that, thank you very much. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for everything you do and the support. Oh, the glasses. You told me. I thought you meant those type of glasses, but you meant, all right. Okay. So for those of you who are farsighted or nearsighted, this isn't going to help you at all. But there are glasses out there that say Johnson Controls, all right? And so please take your glasses, all right? With that, Johnson Controls, again, thank you very much, and thank you, everybody, for attending.
Yeah? It's one sink. It's one sink over a little attic space. But like, not that. What do you call it?
Yeah, I went out Sunday morning in cold water. I was like, oh my God, and then the pipes froze. I was like, this is ridiculous. We just got to fix it. We're back on the road. Good luck.
Thank you. Good job.